So imagine for a moment the arduousness of the current social media environment, where if you have a post, you are probably looking at 6 different platforms, or you're looking at paying hundreds of dollars a month to Sprout Social, Hootsuite, or something Hive, I forget the name of it, to essentially post once and get it disseminated everywhere across X and LinkedIn and Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, TikTok, and of course you've got YouTube as well. The list goes on and on, right? Now imagine for a moment if just 2 of those companies decided you're not cool to post on the platform. Let's say Meta and Google, right? Obviously, I'm being picky here. So Meta means no Facebook, no Instagram, no Threads, and that doesn't really matter, and no WhatsApp. Then you have Google, which would be no YouTube, no Google search, no display, and no monetization via your AdSense for your blog. After that, you'd be stuck with like 3rd and 4th round draft picks, like let's say LinkedIn, X, and TikTok would probably be a 2nd round draft pick, right? And then after that, you're looking at, I don't know, like 15 or 20. I don't watch the draft, so I don't know how many rounds they go. But whatever the last round is, that would probably be Gab and Rumble at the very, very end, right? So once Google and Meta decide that you don't get to post to their platforms, I mean, you really don't have much of an option. I forgot. You do have Pinterest. Pinterest is in there somewhere. Maybe they're in the 7th round. My point is that the more as arduous as it is to post to all these different platforms, the more platforms we have, the better, especially because there's just no possible way to predict what is okay to say now and then suddenly not okay to say later, right? It's mind-boggling how much things have changed in terms of our culture. Of course, I'm talking about the US specifically. And so that's where this whole Threads thing comes in. And I think this is a bit of a bait. There's got to be a bait and switch coming, right? Because right now, Meta has spent over $100 million working on their AI, and it's for free. Like, you can go right now to this site and download it for free. You probably need a super crazy decked out computer to do it. You'd probably just, rent a server on DigitalOcean or something like that and hire someone on Upwork for a couple $100 to install it for you. But you'll have $100 million AI that you can do whatever you want with. And no one really understands why Meta is giving this away, right? And so maybe this is part of, Mark Zuckerberg's rebranding. Maybe it's just part of Meta suddenly turning a new leaf, except it's clearly not. But I bring all this context to the last story we have of the day, and that is Meta is joining something called, or Threads is joining something called the Fediverse. Now, I had no idea what this was. I'd heard of, what's this other one? Mastodon, and I've heard of Blue Sky before, but I never heard of Fediverse. So think of Fediverse as like the Linux of social media platforms. Like, we all know Mac and Windows, and we know like Linux exists, but it's just for like those super power users who want like super control, right? Although we might be stuck using Linux soon. I'll get to that in a different day. But the point is, Fediverse is supposed to be this like kumbaya, open source, all these social media platforms talk to each other. So if you post on Threads, then your post can show up on Mastodon and Blue Sky and whoever else is on the network. There's just one small little problem. Number one, you don't control necessarily which other networks your content goes to on the Fediverse. And good luck trying to delete, number two, good luck trying to delete anything, because if you post something on Threads and it goes out to the Fediverse and then you delete it on Threads, Threads can't force all those other servers to delete your stuff. It's just there. And then, of course, number three is the Fediverse is pretty much made up of a bunch of Twitter clones. Like there's no actual new element to this other than, it's on a bunch of different servers, and the assumption is decentralization is going to make things better or freer. Except if Meta was really interested in things being better or freer, then they would loosen their grip on what they do and do not allow on their platforms. So I think that this is a kind of a fake move because they know allowing threads to be on the Fediverse makes it look like they're open because they literally changed their name to Meta. They want everyone on their metaverse, right? They want everyone somehow connected to them and their platform. And at the end of the day, I don't think this is a win for anyone who is pro Fediverse, and I don't think this is a win for anyone who wants more free speech or wants more options when it comes to social media platforms. So I think at this point, just so it doesn't turn into Jason complaining about threads every time, I'm just going to say I will use threads because there's a little box where you can check where your Instagram goes to it. But after that, I'm definitely not going to put my stuff on a bunch of other servers as well. And I don't think it's worth your time either. Because at the end of the day, this is a very unveiled attempt to just take out X for some reason. I understand people don't like the new owner of X, and I understand people don't like some of the content that's allowed on X. But if you go and make another platform and you want everyone to join that platform, then you're going to eventually have to allow the same people who post stuff you don't like on X on your platform as well. And if you don't, then it's the same as the current social media platforms, which is why those people have flocked to X in the first place.